These are some more Hippogryph sketches that I've done for my sketchbook. My fantasy creatures from Hogwarts Legacy sketchbook. I will color them with that demonic gouache again. Starting with this one. Just a regular pose showing the wings and face. These are also from some of my screenshots I've taken from my Hogwarts Legacy gameplay. I'm using those as reference. At this point, I still had the white hippogriff, so that's the color reference I'm going with for these sketches. In the game, I have a black hippogriff that I think came with the special edition of the game, I'm not sure. And I also have some brown ones in the vivarium that you get in the game. Once you have the vivarium, then you can capture some animals and make them breed. So I have some baby hippogriffs too. I don't know if I'll paint those. Maybe I will. They look kinda weird, like a baby chicken and a horse, with that big baby chicken head. For this first one, I started with the warm background, like an autumn orange, because that's the season in this part in the game. So it was the Halloween season in the castle. There's a bunch of Halloween decorations around. The game has some very beautiful environments. So a lot of the colors in the background of my screenshots are these colors. And I want to use that color palette for the sketches as well. I don't think that I use too many bright colors in general, so it's a good time to practice using those. Since these are the cheap gouache, they had the same issues as the previous video. They don't cover properly the surface, even if you apply thick paint right out of the paint tube. But I've learned to just use them as a wash instead. Also, this is not my regular paper. It's not mixed media paper. It's Bristol paper. I think the word is Bristol. Like a year or two ago, I did some sketches and videos of Pirates and Caribbean themed studies in this block of Bristol paper. The block of paper is damaged by water, so it's already wobbly in some places. I was going to use them for practicing painting, and I did some videos for my Sketch With Me playlist. I actually did Pirate and Caribbean themed drawings in the rest of the pages, and was expecting to continue painting them, but I never really got to them in the end. I just moved on to other projects like usual. But I still have that block lying around in my painting area, so I decided to use them for my current sketchbook project. I just flipped the paper since, like I said, the other side is filled with drawings of pirates, mermaids, and island landscapes. I drew the hippogryphs on the other side, and since these are for a smaller sketchbook, I just cut them in smaller pieces to fit them. I tried to do as much values and details as I could with these demon paints, which is not much. It has that rough look to it. It doesn't paint well. But for these ones I decided to use ink since I couldn't portray the differences and details in tone. And I'm using ballpoint pen for these. And I just realized, since these are Bristol papers, I should have experimented with real deep pen ink to see how they'd look alongside the gouache. I only used ballpoint pen on this, since I tested the look with some sketches on my regular sketchbook. For the next ones on another video, I will try some regular ink. At least I know that with the ballpoint pen I can get them to work. I can portray the details of the feathers and the textures. And it's not a bad look at all. Now for this current sketch. This is my slithering wizard character riding the hippogryph. I tried a daylight background. Blue sky, green grass. I did try to show some value gradations. I gave that white gouache a chance, but again, not much it can really do. Although I tried to add darker values even on his robe, it just didn't come out well. I tried detailing with the ballpoint pen for this one too. It does help in general to make it more detailed. But even with the ink, this is not one of my favorite sketches. I just don't like how this one turned out. But I'll still include it. It's just sketchbook. I'm supposed to just experiment with this. In the next sketch, I drew it flying with its wings spread out. In the game, you can fly the hippogryph all over the map, including the Hogwarts castle. So I took some screenshots while I was flying around. I didn't include my character on the drawing though. For the sketches, I wanted to focus mostly on the creature. You can tell I struggled with these colors. It's like I didn't have a clear color palette. I started with cool tones, then I added warmer tones. The hippogryph is white, but on the extreme end of the feathers on the wings, he starts getting a bit darker in tone. I tried to capture that. With the lighting that I had on the screenshot, the change of color was a bit more pronounced. I guess I tried to portray that, but I should have kept in mind that in the end, it is a white hippogryph. So even in the shadows, it should still portray as a white animal. I didn't get a proper value change from the light to the darks. It ended up looking like it was a different color. It actually kind of looks like that United States eagle, their symbolic bird. If the United States eagle was a hippogryph, this is what it would look like. Actually, it would be cool if they had these types of hippogryphs in the wizarding world of the Americas. I also inked with ballpoint pen, and it really helped give the sketch a finished look, because the paintwork is really messy. If it wasn't for those lines, this would just be a mess of paint blobs. In some parts you can see the ballpoint pen ink smudged out. I guess I did it with my hand, I didn't pay attention and smudged it. This next one, the drawing looks lazy to me. I foolishly thought I could make the sketch work with the tones from the painting. But I should have known better, having used this gouache so many times before. It's like I only mapped out the feathers in a loose pencil way because I thought I could make it work with the painting. I did use some paint strokes to detail some feather work, and it worked in some parts, because I left the paper intact as the white of the wings. I also made the same mistake as the last sketch, where I emphasized the color change on the feathers too much. So it looks like he doesn't have white feathers at the end. They look like they are a completely different color. It's just some problem with the values. I should pay more attention to the dark values of light objects. I just very gently added some soft colors for the background and the rest. It's like I didn't even try to make it work with the paints. I just went straight to the inking for the definition. And also I focused more on showing the change in form with the hatching textures of the pen. I think it came out better than I was expecting. And this is the last of the sketches. Another flying in midair pose. This is one of my favorites of these sketches. I really like that pose. For many of these, I didn't really try to keep them confined to the size of the sketchbook page. I knew that when I finished them, some of them would be bigger than the page, but I really wanted to portray the poses with the spread out wings. This one I started with warm tones and then added the cool tones. I tried again adding the cool tones to the end of the feathers. Like I kept trying to make it work, but on the last two it didn't come out well. I added a more vibrant background color for this one. The feathers of the wings still look like two completely different colors to me. It doesn't read like bluish shadows, which is what I was going for. But at least I tried. I also tried again with that horrible white gouache with the same results. This time I also used the inking to show the three-dimensionality by hatching the values. It's the only way I found to salvage this. The ink of the ballpoint pen is not super dark, so in some parts it looks a bit purple in my opinion. I guess it's the influence of the gouache too. I wish I would have thought to use the actual ink at the time. I wonder if the look would be better. Or maybe it will look too washed out, since the dip pen inks are darker in value than the ballpoint pen one. Once I finished all the sketches, I stuck them on my sketchbook. Some of them come out of the page, but I like that they do. I don't mind the look, I think it gives it an extra something. Because of the thickness of the paper I stuck on, the tape has some problems staying in place, but I'll figure that out later. I like that the different papers make the sketchbook fatter.